The Educational Technology program at UTRGV is one of the most successful academic programs on campus. What do students learn in this program, and what career opportunities are available to them after they complete it? Join me today for another campus conversation, and we'll find out together. Welcome once again. I'm your host, Dr. Manuel G. Saldivar. Today I'll be speaking with Dr. Renee Corbale, faculty member and program administrator in the Educational Technology program at UTRGV.
The mission of the Educational Technology program is to prepare highly skilled, future-ready educational technology professionals for leadership roles in K-12, higher education, corporate, and military settings across the region, the state, and the nation. So if a student wants to work in the K-12 area, but let's say maybe they may not even want to work as a teacher, as a classroom teacher. There are many career paths that they could take within education. As a matter of fact, the ed tech industry is one of the fastest growing industries globally, and it intersects every other industry. We have students in our program that come to us from healthcare. We've got a doctor right now who's working at our medical school, who's going and getting a master's degree in educational technology because he sees the value of the skills that he's learning working in higher ed. We have people that work in the government. We have a recent graduate that graduated from NASA, who works at NASA. So if they want to stay in the K-12 arena, they can, as instructional designers, as technology coordinators at a campus or at a district level, or they can work in the massive ed tech industry that supports education. Every vendor that creates a textbook is now looking for people to create the digital resources that support the textbook. There are people that work at Apple Computers, Dell, Microsoft, and all of the ones that work with hardware and software to teach teachers how to use technology, how to integrate technology into their teaching. So it's a very versatile degree, and those who really have a passion for teaching, it'll make them much more versatile as teachers also. If they have access to an array of technologies that they can integrate into their classes, we'll teach them how to do that in a more meaningful way. But if they want to stay in the area of education, just not as teachers, there's that opportunity as well. Probably one of the primary skills that they learn is instructional design. How to design not only lessons and courses, but message. How to design the message and communicate it effectively is probably one of the biggest skills that they learn. There's also course design and lesson design, message and communication design, multimedia development, evaluation and assessment. Basically, our students learn educational technology through educational technology, so they are also learning how to use the tools that they'll be working with either by themselves or with students or with stakeholders, with colleagues. So there are many skills that are involved in that program. I would say that the most successful are enthusiastic learners, students that really have a passion for what they're learning and take it seriously. They're self-directed. Especially in online classes, students have to be able to take ownership of their learning. Sometimes courses are offered completely asynchronously, and where it's mostly them and the curriculum. Not so much so in the EdTech program, but in other programs. So being able to be self-directed where they can take responsibility for their learning would be very important. Having good time management skills are essential in online because sometimes, I mean, no one's telling you when to sit down and do the work. So you have to be able to carve time in your busy schedule to be able to do the work. And I think a curiosity and a willingness to experiment, take chances, to try to learn something new, to push yourself to do something you've never done before. Those are the types of characteristics that I see in students who are successful and who actually thrive and go on and do great things after they get out. If someone wants to go into the teaching sphere, they can become teachers, classroom teachers. They don't get certified through us, so they have to get certified either before they come to us or afterwards. But if they want to work as teachers, teachers who want to learn how to use technology better with their classes, that would be one thing. The minor in educational technology, we have two minors. One of them is in technology education and corporate training. That's for people that want to work more in the business or corporate arena. And then the educational EdTech minor, educational technology minor, they're a good combination. And a lot of our undergraduate students will go ahead and get both minors. If there's room in a degree plan for a minor, students in any discipline can go ahead and pick up the minor in educational technology. Otherwise, they might have to go through a degree plan such as the Bachelor's of Multidisciplinary Studies, the BMS. And that was a really nice degree plan in the sense that it allows you to create a customized degree. So once you get your educational core, all of the required courses, you have 3 areas where you can get a minor in. So if, let's say, you want to work in communications, you can get a minor in communications and say, you know what, I think that graphic design might be another area that would go well with communication. So I could do the written and message design, and then the graphic design with the visuals to it. And you know what? The EdTech might be a nice one so that I could move that communication online to training and professional development, or just communicating a message. And it could be an instructional message or an informative message. Examples of companies that would love to have somebody like that might be a company like Apple, where every single product that they develop, they have a staff of people that will work to develop a message and a professional development, not only for the staff, because everybody that works at Apple will have to know how to use the tools and the apps and stuff like that, but also for the general public. You buy yourself a laptop and you want to learn how it works and what it does, well, you can go to their website and learn a lot just by looking at the website. But there are tutorials. Somebody's got to create those tutorials, the videos and the step-by-step instructions and all that. So a company like Apple would probably have a lot of people working for them to help communicate their message and to sell their products, as well as to teach the consumer as well as the employee. Oftentimes, what ends up happening is if a classroom teacher gets the master's in educational technology, they end up becoming the technology coordinator for their campus. If they have the desire to do so, they can move from the campus level to technology coordinator at the district level. Our program's been around for over 20 years, and if you were to look at the school districts throughout Texas, I would venture to say that a lot, if not most, of the technology coordinators that are out there at the campus or district level probably had a master's degree from us. I mentioned the technology coordinator at the campus and district level, but they can also move into higher education as technology coordinator or director of distance education in a community college or university. And we do have several of our graduates who have gone that route. And as a matter of fact, the director of Colt here at UTRGV got his master's degree from our program, and he also is working on his doctorate in curriculum and instruction with a specialization in educational technology. His background is in computer science and IT, but when you combine the two, IT with ed tech, you end up with a very, very powerful combination, because oftentimes in those management positions where you have CIOs and directors of IT, if they only know how to communicate with their staff about how to implement or how to use technology or how to manage databases and systems, sometimes they have a difficulty communicating with the end users, which are the students and the professors or teachers, the faculty. So having a master's degree in educational technology allows you to have a foot in both worlds. And oftentimes our graduates end up being the interpreters between the IT world and the end users, whether it's in education or higher ed. And then the other area, a lot of our graduates end up going into consulting, where they work with school districts to help them design and facilitate new technology initiatives. Sometimes they work with grant writers to develop grants where they can put together a package that involves the purchase or acquisition of technology, the professional development component, because without professional development for the faculty, any technology initiative that you would do will probably fail. Because if the teachers don't use it correctly, then it ends up being misused, or worse yet, just put away on a shelf to collect dust. So consulting is another very big area. If they choose to become instructional designers, that opens up a whole world of opportunities, because every organization these days needs instructional designers. Every company, every corporation, every industry, a lot of the professional development that companies have that's mandatory has moved from face-to-face, where you're sitting in front of a guy talking with 150 slides on a PowerPoint. It's moving online. So what's happening is companies are in dire need of instructional designers that can design this professional development to make it engaging and fun, and not just something that you have to endure. So that's another huge area of opportunity. If you do a Google search or go to any of the career websites and just do a search for instructional designer, you will find positions in instructional design across every industry. When you learn the instructional design process, the very first phase is to do an analysis, find out who the learners are, what does the learning environment look like, what are the benefits and the constraints of that environment, and then when you start to look at the learners, you have to look at all kinds of things. Is English their primary language? If not, what are you going to do if they are not very strong English readers or communicators? You could develop the most beautiful lessons, and it may not hit home because you're not developing those lessons for your audience. So getting and understanding who your learners are is one of the foundational components of the instructional design process, and it's one of the things that we preach and we try to practice ourselves in our own courses. What's unique about our program is that it's 100% project-based. In every single class, they will identify a real-world training need or opportunity. If they're working, if they're teaching, or if they're in the field in any way, they can look around and see, you know what, here's something that our employees, or here's a skill that our teachers or paraprofessionals, or here's something we need our parents to understand if they're working in a school and parents need to learn certain procedures or whatever. They'll identify that intended audience of who they and the specific skills that they want to develop. So they'll identify the real world training need or opportunity, and then they'll develop an instructional solution. So in every single class, they'll be learning how to do that, identify who the learners are, and then develop some kind of instructional solution to address a specific problem that they've identified. So those types of real world projects help our students. We are grooming our graduates to become leaders, to become professionals. All of those projects that they do in other courses and in other programs, oftentimes when students develop products, they develop them for an audience of one, for the teacher. And oftentimes that product only has to be good enough, because they look at the rubric and say, okay, I can get 95 or 100 if I just do this level. But in our program, we encourage students to develop for other people to see, you know. So when you're developing for people beyond just the instructor, now there's this incentive, a motive, or that if many people are going to be able to see it, good enough is not going to be good enough. Now it has to be the best I can make it. And oftentimes our students get recognized. They stand out at work because they're developing these instructional solutions. They're solving real world problems. And oftentimes our students, before they graduate with their master's degree, get promoted or moved into a role where they're doing more of the technology leadership on their campus or in their work area. The final piece of that is a portfolio. Instead of taking a comprehensive exam, a test that they can study for and then forget everything 2 days after they took the test, they're taking all of those instructional units and solutions that they've developed, all of those products, they put it together into a portfolio, and then that is what they use for their final evaluation in the program. But when they graduate, they can also attach that to their resumes and to their professional profiles on places like LinkedIn, so that when students apply for a job, they can go ahead and say, you know, I have a master's degree in educational technology, and here's a link to my portfolio that shows what I know and can do. In the master's program, as a matter of fact, we've developed 3 graduate certificates. One of them is in e-learning for people who want to learn how to teach online. Then there's the technology leadership certificate for people who want to work with stakeholders to design and implement technology initiatives, you know, that'll have a higher chance of success. And then there's the online instructional designer certificate for people who want to work with teachers and professors, or in a corporate environment with the professional development staff to design and develop online training. So we've been doing that. And the neat thing about our program is that our students have the opportunity to learn to earn one or more of these graduate certificates as part of the master's degree. So that gives them another competitive advantage, because they can say, here's my master's degree in ed tech. Oh, and by the way, I also have a graduate certificate in e-learning and technology leadership. And you can look at my portfolio to see what I know how to do. So by the time our students graduate, they don't have to go into the job with no skills, and they already know how to do and perform what they need to do. And I think one of the things that the COVID crisis has done is that it has made it essential, where at one point, instructional technology, educational technology, they might have been a luxury, or a lot of faculty and teachers may not have felt that it was a necessity for their work. Oftentimes, they often treated educational technology as an add-on. And in the worst case scenario, faculty or teachers would say, do your work, and if you finish early, you can get your iPad and play games. And that's the worst way to use technology. I think because of the COVID crisis, educational technology is no longer a luxury. Now it's the way we have to communicate. It's the way we have to learn. If we look at the short term, we already know that this past spring, schools and colleges across the world got caught flat-footed. We weren't ready to jump into it's not really what I would call, and what the researchers are talking about, distance education. It's really more of a remote learning type of model that was adopted. And basically, it was, the response was, let's just keep the learning going any way we can. Unfortunately, because of the digital divide, a lot of students were disenfranchised. They weren't able to participate. And that has hurt us. Looking at the fall and beyond, I think one of the things that's going to happen is that online education and blended or hybrid education is going to become the norm. Even after the crisis is over and it's safe for us to get together in groups, I have a feeling that some of these things won't go back to the way they were. Now that we're used to being able to work from home and teach from home, and students are seeing that they're also able to learn from home, I think that more and more blended and online education is going to become part of the mainstream or the norm. It's not going to be the exception anymore. The challenge for us is now to make it good. We have to focus on the quality of the experience, of the learning experience.
Many thanks to Dr. Corbale for joining us today. If you like this video, please click on the thumbs up icon below. And if you really like this video, please consider subscribing to this channel by clicking on the subscribe button, and also turning on notifications by clicking on the bell icon. YouTube will automatically notify subscribers every time a new video is added to this channel. This has been another Campus Conversation with me, Dr. Manuel G. Saldivar. Thank you very much for joining us today, and I hope you'll join us again for future videos.